I see PGCE students do this. I see NQT students do this as well, and some other and some teachers as well. Teachers after a while that have random name generators, and I like random name generators, but not really. I don't like random name generators for questions, for questioning. I don't like it at all for a few reasons, and I'm going to get into those quite quickly, actually. Our main job is questioning students. It's basically our job. I don't like the idea of that being random. Questioning, I'd like to think in my classroom, is well thought out. I know who I'm going to question. I know the questions that I'd like the students to be able to ask, and then maybe the follow-up questions as well. It's trying to get the best out of the students, and making that random almost makes it more difficult for you, because you'll see a name on the board, or you'll pick a name out, and then you've got to think of a question for that student that's tailored for that student. If you're using a random name generator and you're asking the same question, whoever you pick out, I don't think that's good practice.
Yeah, we were having a sort of conversation about this kind of before we wrote the tip for this one, and we did kind of come up with a few situations where potentially you could use one.
Oh, yeah.
But it would take real skill to be able to use one effectively, and we sort of thought on balance that if you were to use one, there's so many drawbacks that broadly it's not a good idea, because if you look at high level good quality questioning by teachers, most of the features you look for in good questioning involve planning of your questions, identifying students who you're going to question, and adapting questions to individual students. And if you have random questions to random students, most of those things aren't really possible, are they?
No.
So potentially, I suppose that if you had a random person to be chosen, if you're a really, really good teacher, you could maybe adapt your questions once they've been chosen. So, for example, it picks out a student, and you could on the fly maybe adapt your questions. But the likelihood of people being able to do that effectively and well is so much lower than if you can, choose who's going to get questioned beforehand. It really doesn't, I don't think, bear much fruit.
No, I know of maybe 4 teachers that I've kind of seen in my career who could possibly do it, and they were phenomenal. But on the whole, it doesn't work. And I've seen this method used a lot. These are to denote lollipop sticks. It's the best image I could find. But I've seen people write names on lollipop sticks and pull them out. But I've also seen that adapted in a different way, because there's an element of the random questioning that I do like, and that is that all students are engaged, because they don't know who's going to be picked. They have no idea. It's random. So everyone in the room has to engage, because they might be the next name out of that jar. But if you had a jar of lollipop sticks and you pick the name out, you pick the lollipop stick out, it can be blank. It can say anything. It doesn't matter, because you already know who you're going to ask a question to. All the students in your room are engaged because they're all expecting to be asked, but you've already got a well thought out question. You know who you're going to ask it to. You kind of are expecting that response. So you're, in a sense, asking the class think the questioning is random, but you know that actually it's not that random. It's actually well thought out. It's actually a well designed, a well kind of constructed illusion.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I wouldn't necessarily want any of my former students to know that, but yeah, I mean, I have been known myself to sort of kind of let them think that the questioning is just randomly chosen students, but I know in my head exactly who's going to get asked next. But it does let the students be on their toes as to thinking, it could be anybody.
Yeah.
But in your own head, you know exactly who's going to get chosen next.
Exactly.
And I think that's in some ways the best of both worlds, isn't it? That
Absolutely.
The students have this idea that anyone could get chosen, but you are actively making that choice as to who gets picked.
Exactly, and I think again, one of the clearest things here is you should always really plan your questions, even if the students believe that you don't. You should have them planned, and for some really good follow up tips on how to question students and what to do in certain classroom situations with classroom behaviour, classroom management, and some more questioning techniques. Have a look at these 3 places.